Bear down, Chicago Bears. Guys, today I'm going to talk to you about Justin Fields. I'm going to talk to you about what happened with USC and Louisville the other night. And we're going to really look at, who do we want to be our quarterback? Now, you can have your opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to preface this with telling you that I think that JF1, Justin Fields, should be QB1 going into the 2024 season. I think that we'd be missing the boat entirely if we didn't stick with what is currently our guy. Now, you can disagree with me, and that's fine. However, one of the reasons that I want to do this is because let him ride out the next year at $9 million. See if he's got the value that we think that he has or potentially could have. And if you don't, you can still get rid of him at $9 million. And Caleb Williams is not your answer. And I'm going to show you why. I'm not saying that Caleb Williams is not a good quarterback. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying, though, will be that Caleb Williams has been largely a system that rewards specific quarterback behavior. And look, at this point, previous people in the Lincoln Riley system, Baker Mayfield has become a journeyman, and he's been on 3 teams over the last 4 years. Kyler Murray is averaging, I think, 150 yards passing a game after averaging some tremendous numbers previously, and now looking very pedestrian. So there's something wrong with the Lincoln Riley system for quarterbacks in the long term, going all the way back to Sam Bradford, who was the number 1 quarterback, and I believe he was in that system, and it didn't do anything in the NFL. Not really. So I don't want to dismiss Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams checks all the boxes for people, but look, Justin Fields has been a class act, A1 individual, a man amongst men for the city of Chicago and for the team. He has the endorsement of almost every player on this team. Now, if your answer is, well, yeah, but anybody who says they're going to do their teammate, anybody who that is going to say that about their teammate, anybody who blah, 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 whatever the case, right? Well, guess what? Yeah, but that's also because they understand and they know what somebody's capable of as well. They're pros. So we're going to look at a few stats, you guys, and maybe you guys will. I don't know if I'll change your mind. If you're already deciding that you want Caleb Williams, there's probably nothing that I can say that's going to change it. But I'm going to try to show you why you should be. Let's just look. All right, guys. First up, USC quarterback Miller Moss sets Holiday Bowl record in place of Caleb Williams as Trojans cruise past Louisville. I'm sorry, what? The replacement for Caleb Williams was even better than Caleb Williams? It's a system, guys. The system rewards people in the system. The receivers that Lincoln Riley surrounds him with, and look, he's a great recruiter of receivers, but the system that he surrounds himself with allows for this kind of excellent sort of behavior. So, dare I say it, the 7-5 University of Southern California Trojans got better when Miller Moss took over as quarterback. Miller Moss, who hasn't started a game yet. This was his first start. Set a record with 6 touchdown passes. Looked brilliant because he's a system quarterback, and this is a system. And look, if you say, well, yeah, but if he's a system quarterback, then he's probably going to be pretty good. Well, yeah, so will Miller Moss next year. So let's give Justin Fields a shot at $9 million next year and wait for Miller Moss if that's the case, because the potential exists. If Caleb Williams can do it, so can Miller Moss. We're not missing out on quarterbacks. And you could be saying to yourself, well, he's a first-round draft pick. This is the number 1 guy, Caleb Williams, overall. Yeah, everybody's number 1 overall until they're not. Guys, number 1s don't always work out. And I'm not saying, again, good or bad over Caleb Williams. It's really about Justin Fields. But Caleb Williams is getting outperformed on his own team by the quarterback who's never started a game before. So let that sink in before you continue to give me, what you think about Caleb Williams. Also, we're going to take some bad here, and we're going to look at this. Jacob Infante says that the advanced stats say about Justin Fields that he's 71% on target throws. That's not great, by the way. 84.4 on catchable throws. That's a little better. 89 IQR. That's a rate adjusted for surroundings, 21st. Points earned per play, 24th. Look, a lot of this, as you come down here, you're going to be making excuses in your mind, and you're going to say, hey, wait a minute. This is the coach staff not coaching and calling the right plays. And that's going to be fair. But let's also look at the statistics, because you still, if you're a coach, you want the quarterback to do your job. Like you tell him to do something, like that's what you want him to do. And if he's not doing it, that is a problem. So 0.3 completion percent over expected, 16th, 41% success rate, 27th, EPA, I don't, I, you know, 22nd, and points earned per run, sixth, points above average on the run, seventh, fourth on EPA for the run, and then broken or missed tackles, fourth. So what we see is he's an elite rushing quarterback and a below average passer. So are we coaching him to that? The answer to that is no. The answer to that is that we have not been doing him justice by doing this. Now, does that mean, by the way, that that's the answer and that we should move on from Justin Fields? Well, I don't think so, because look, you see the product on the field. You know what Luke Getsy, you see the product on the field. You know the plays that Luke Getsy is calling. You know that what he's doing is not solid gameplay. You see it. You see the scripted plays look beautiful, and then you see it all collapse and fall apart after those plays. You see the product on the field. You know what's happening. So let's move on from there and go with this next stat here. This is Jaylen Herz, who is comparable or has been considered comparable to the breakout that Justin Fields had. Jaylen Herz with 3,144 yards over 15 games played and 784 rushing yards. It's kind of similar to the stats that you're getting right now when you're looking at Justin Fields. But then now Jaylen Herz is a Super Bowl guy. He's a big time starting quarterback in the league. What changed? What was it? 61.3% completion. Like, what's going on there? Well, let's look at Justin's stats for this year, and you can see 2,146 yards. But Tyson Bagent was in for 5 games with another 859 yards. So, really looking at, if Justin Fields had been in 15 games or so, he'd be about 3,000 yards. And then what would the touchdown to interception ratio look like? Well, it's 15-9 right now. Taking out some of the Tyson Bagent, the guy turned over the ball quite a bit. So, and I like Tyson Bagent, by the way. But let's just consider here that Justin Fields probably would not have been 3-6 in those games. And Justin Fields, 585 yards, 5.6 yards a carry. These are phenomenal numbers. These are not numbers that represent a problem. And look at DJ Moore having a career year with 1,143 yards, not to be outdone. Look at Cole Kmet. And then from there, an enormous drop off. Like, that's the problem here, right? Darnell Mooney, Roschon Johnson. Like, Roschon Johnson, your running back, has as many receptions as your second wide receiver. And Tyler Scott just not getting, it's just not happening. And then once you go back down here, look at this. Chase Claypool, after those guys, Chase Claypool has more catches than Equanimeous St. Brown. Like, guys, it's crazy. Velus Jones, we have wide receiver problem. We don't have a Justin Fields problem. Now, let me come over here and let's look over the course of the year. Look at the progress that Justin Fields has been making. 60.9% completion. Do we want it to be higher? Of course we do. This is a league that rewards quarterbacks for passing right now. So it would be reasonable to say that we would like to see this in the 65 to 70% range. But in 11 games, he has as many passing yards as he had in 15 games last year. He has a much better touchdown to interception ratio, much better than the first year, obviously, and a much higher rating overall than what he's had before. So, and by the way, look at this. This has been down because of an injury, but his QBR previously 56 down to 44.7. So again, it's reasonable to assume that there could be some improvement. But again, 1,143 yards rushing the year before, 585 this year. So the stats are a mixed bag, and the question becomes Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. And I think the answer should be simple to you guys. Caleb Williams, with no disrespect to Caleb Williams, I'm sure he's a class act and a great individual, but so is Justin. Caleb Williams comes from a system of quarterbacks that makes every quarterback in that system look like a champion. And that's great coaching from Lincoln Riley, putting his quarterbacks in a position for success. So you want to do anything, don't worry about Caleb Williams. Just go hire Lincoln Riley as your offensive coordinator, which of course will not be done. But the point is, we need to find somebody who can coach Justin Fields. We got 1 year. Let's just call it 1 year. And then we've got one more year that we could potentially get him as a free agent on the 5th-year option for, I think, around $25 million versus paying Caleb Williams about $9 million is what the number is going to end up being. And look, that's not too much differential for us to say, hey, the Justin Fields experiment is over. Like, I think we really need to look at it, and I think Justin Fields should be the quarterback for the Bears in the future. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I gave you some stats that do not support Justin Fields. I gave you some stats that do support Justin Fields, but I gave you some evidence here that Caleb Williams is not who you think he is. He's just a product of a system that we know excels for quarterbacks, and every quarterback who's not excelling in the NFL excelled in that system. So, again, let me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button and the bell to be notified. And bear down. We'll talk to you guys again very, very soon. And Happy New Year.